Ooh, spooky. Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to a fun little Halloween episode. It's Halloween week, so I figured I'd have some fun today and, start off with a spooky. Well, that's all. It's going to be really spooky today, not too much spooky stuff. But yeah, what we're going to do today, as we do with all of our fashion in the making, is go over something that I'm making in the world of, fashion. See, it makes sense, right? And so what we're going to make today is this guy. It is a bowl, just like we've been doing all month. We've been doing these little bowls. And so this one, if you notice, is not square. It is, in fact, a pentagon. It's 5-sided. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 sides. Still reversible, just like all the others. Just reversible as all the other ones. And so what I wanted to do today is show how I made it. And so I start with this, which you can see up close. I've drawn like an X on it to get like where the center points are. So I know where the middle point of all 4 corners are. It's kind of helpful in the future, something to know. Very helpful to have. Then I determined how many sides I needed on it, drew all those sides, and then eventually came up with this pattern. So let's see. This is the top. That's my pattern. And so what I have done is cut, where'd that little piece go? There it is. Cut this little piece off of each one. And that way I can then sew them together like that and form the sides of this little guy. So it forms all the sides. We're going to go ahead and use some spare fabric today. So either the front side is that, and the back side will be this one. Just some scrap fabric that I had laying around, and I wanted to kind of use it up. So I was like, ooh, it'd be a good time to use it on a stream, So let's go ahead and iron this little piece. I didn't have time earlier to iron it, so I wanted to iron it. But yeah, how's everyone's day going? Okay, cool. I mean, you were second, but hey, that's cool. I get it. A happy wife is a happy life, all right? So you were definitely first, sure. So we have these 2 pieces. We got this piece, and we got this piece. And what you guys are going to help me do is figure out, so we've done a 5-sided one, and so that's how you do a 5-sided one. And I want to show you the process of taking a square and turning it into a different shape. So the question I have for you, what shape would you like? Would you like A, triangle, or B, a hexagon? So you tell me in the chat below, do you prefer A, triangle, or B, a hexagon? Hexagon will be very similar to this, and a triangle, will look like a triangle. So you tell me, ooh, a hexagon, huh? Okay, what does CFL want? Does he want a hexagon as well, or a triangle? And this one's a little pentagon. A circular box. Well, we already did circular boxes. We've already done circular ones. That's what we did last week. These ones are circular boxes. See, you just put 4 corners onto it, and it turns it into a circle. See? That's a circle box. I mean, the bottom of it, you could argue, is square, but because I've done nothing to like if I pinched it in, I could get it to be like a perfect cube. But because I never did, it's already a circle. that's how you do circles. You just do 4 corners and then don't do anything to the top, and you automatically get a circle. In fact, even this one could be arguably very circular if you just like look at it at like that. They're all going to be circular if you don't like put any kind of reinforcements, or you don't like, because if I sew this in and stuff like that, I can do that. But we'll go ahead. Let's see. So we have 1 triangle and 1 hexagon. Well, I do have 2 pieces, so I could do both, but we're all going to do a shorter stream today. So what we're going to do, I think, is a triangle, because I wanted to do a triangle. Because the pentagon or hexagon is just going to be this with 1 more side. That's all it's going to be. But I want to do a triangle. The illusion of choice. That's like a WWE match. You think you're watching it, but really, it's already predetermined. And don't worry, next week I'll do a hexagon as well. So, what I have done is I have pre-cut pieces. These pieces are 9 inches big by 9 inches big. Super important to start with a square. If you don't start with the square, well then, you're just making stuff harder for yourself. It's possible, but you can still do it. So, what we're going to do with our little triangle, because triangles are kind of easy in that sense of, we're just going to pick the corners. And so, now you have a triangle. Okay. Now you have a triangle. And so what we do with that is, well, cut it out. And don't worry, I'll make this one into a hexagon. I'll show you in a second. I can do it with a hexagon as well. Get right in those corners. Now, there are different types of triangles. Being as we started with a square, we should equal something similar to an equilateral triangle. However, I don't believe all 3 sides will be perfectly the same, but 2 sides will. Let's measure it. That's always something I like to do afterwards, is measure. So, the bottom is still 9 inches, because that's not unchanged, and then that's 10 inches. And then, of course, that's the same on both sides there, 10 inches. So 10, 10, and 9. And so it will make roughly this little pizza shape. Right? It's kind of what a triangle I was going for. I wanted to go for a pizza triangle. Now, you might be thinking, how are you going to turn this into this? Well, by doing that. See, I've notched it. And however big these notches are will end up being your side pieces. And so that will determine how tall your box is. We're going to do 2 inches. Hi, how you doing, buddy? So what we're going to do is essentially you take your ruler and you put it to what you would think is the middle. Now, if you have a protractor, stuff like that, you can find the perfect middle if you like. But I'm not going to do that. So that's 2 inches up from there. And okay. So from this point and this point. So the real key here is it really doesn't matter how big or small they are as long as they're equal to each other. So, for instance, let me finish this off here. Oop. And then let me get it so it's a little bolder for you guys. Okay. So, if you look, I have one line there, one line there, one line on the side. And so I could make it this big, I could make it this big, I could, make the lines bigger and bigger, bigger and bigger and bigger, and just keep going, right? So we ultimately are kind of determining how big the thing's going to be, which is essentially how tall the sides are going to be. Once I like it, then you cut it. And the nice thing about the sides being equal is that you just saved yourself a bit of time. Because all you got to do is take that little piece you just cut and put it on the other corner. You know, lie it down right in the little corner and draw your lines. And so now, and you can even check it if you like, be like, yep, that's correct. You can do this with, say, you have a school mascot, or in any kind of fashion, you need something to do that. There you go. And one of the helpful things that I said earlier is I do have lines drawn throughout it. So when I line it up, I can line up that center point with the center point of the other one with the lines that I've drawn. And there you go, right? Boom. Now I have, with a couple of cuts and a couple of seconds, I have the pattern that I need. And you can even keep these little pieces if you wanted to. They make little like arrowhead shapes, or, you know, the other one was making like a perfect little rhombus shape. See what I'm saying? So if you ever have kids and you need to do art, then you can also produce it that way too, right? But yeah, see, now you have what is a triangle. And what will happen is these two pieces will form up. These two pieces will form up. And these two pieces will form up. And you'll have your triangle again. So you did reduce the size. Now the triangle will be 6.5 inches instead of 10. We literally took out 4 inches. Because not only did you take out 2 from one side, but of course you took out 2 from the other side as well. So yeah, it's going to be 6.5 inches, and then the bottom will be 5.5. And you measure that from your 2 new endpoints. So you measure it from here to there, to there, to there, or from this point down here to this one. You know what I mean? That's how you get your sides. You can't go out here anymore because remember, you just cut all that away, and so it will form that little triangle, and that will be your measurements. So if you're trying to be like, hey, I need it to be finished 5 inches, then you have to make it obviously bigger than 5 inches, and then know that you're cutting into that. Or if you say you need it to be 5 and you're like, oh, I need it to do that, you could have done it the opposite way of like drawing that triangle inside of this piece and then adding 1 inch onto each of those. And that would have worked as well, right? If you had just added an inch here, add the inch here, add the inch there. See what I'm saying? Like, because that's how big the walls are going to be. So, you know, it's ultimately up to you. I like doing it this way through math, is I find the easiest way to do it. So now we have our triangle. And then we have the 2 pieces that I'm going to use. I have this little beautiful piece. yeah, put the triangle inside of a circle, definitely. And then this is the other piece. So put right sides together, which these are almost identical pieces. There is a little bit of an overhang because I was using random little scraps that I had. And I'm going to line that, turn it upside down there, line that up with my, because I have a seam down the middle here. So it should be no problem for me to kind of get into that middle. And anything I cut out, it's fine. I'll end up using it to make, you know, the these kinds of things, right? My placemats and my, you know, so there's no waste. Even if I'm cutting away, it's all good. And yeah, I could have, you know, put it down here, put it like, you know, you could be more cost effective. This is for more of a hobby than anything. So it's like, you don't necessarily need it to be the finest way of doing it. Draw out your pattern, which, pattern weights or hand is always good. I did serge all my lines, so no matter where I cut, it should not, unfurl itself. But if you are worried about that, then just use a solid piece. So now I have drawn onto this piece my shape. And I do like pinning it down if I'm going to cut through multiple pieces. So now you can see it there. It goes that way, it goes that way, and comes back. And so, let's cut it out. One sec, I'm going to stand for this part. Safety with scissors, you probably should stand when you cut. It's kind of a basic thing to understand with scissor safety, right? And again, these pieces I'll keep. I'll put into a different thing. And you can see right off the bat, we still have very much our triangle, right? The triangle's still very much there. But we've cut away a little bit. Remember to keep going when you cut something. Don't cut this way, then cut that way. You want to keep going along the line that you've cut. So if you start cutting, see, when you start cutting into it, don't come from the other side, finish your line. It will give you a much cleaner cut, because then you won't have these little hanging pieces in between, little hanging pieces. But yeah, see, now we have our two pieces. And two pieces. And these kinds of things, again, we'll put it in our little bin that we made last week, and we have it ready to go. Let's switch on over. There we go. Okay. So, I forgot to turn my light on. Usually I like to have all that stuff ready already. My bad. So a lot of times I do end up serging all these pieces, but that is a little bit in a different room, and so it's harder to film that one. So we're just going to sew it the regular way. And as you can see, because I serged it earlier, it's, doing fine. It's not, if I pull on it real hard, I could definitely get it to pull out. But, we're not going to do that. We're adults here. We don't, play with it like a child, right? Cut that little piece off, do the third one, and we'll have the basis of a triangle. And all I'm doing is folding that piece in on itself. So those two little lines that we cut are then sewn into each other, which is why they have to be equal to each other. If you made one bigger than the other, well, you made it wrong. And see, right off the bat, now you can see the little triangle. Now we got to do it again, right? We got to take these two corners, put them together. Now it's one piece, right? It's nice and flat. And then just put that under your machine, give it a little back stitch at each front and back location, and sew through it, and there you go. See? There you go. No, I won't show it. I was trying to get it under better light there. I'm gonna I'll get some more lights for my house for Christmas. That's like get my house all with studio lighting. You got one more to do, and then we'll show you what it looks like. Now, because two of them were 6.5 and one of them was 5.5 long, we can only put it together one way. Say if you had a perfect square like we've done in previous weeks, I was just slapping those things together. I didn't really care about what side was, what side. It didn't matter to me at all. See, there's the other one. Because ultimately at the end of the day, only thing that really mattered was getting it done, right? Whereas these ones, I can't put it like that or something, right? It's like there is a top and there is a bottom to this one. So all you do at this point is one of them needs to be right sides in, one of them needs to be right sides out. And you just put them together. Yep, you could also do this as a Christmas tree, absolutely. That was kind of the reason why I wanted to do the triangle today, because I know it is Halloween, but of course, what is right around the corner after Halloween but Christmas? All right, so it was kind of a preview of like, hey, you can make something spooky, but at the same time, what's spookier than Christmas? And so, put your points together. Try to get the little points all together, and then I usually just pin in the middle of each side. I find that the easiest. But yeah, see, now you don't see any of the right sides. Right sides is a colorful part of the fabric. Whereas you can see here, see how dull that is. See what I'm saying? So this is the inside, that is the outside, it's the correct side. And so this is how you want them to be, because you want it, when you flip it, to look like that. So we'll go back over to our machine. And get it done. So I've actually been doing this lately by going inside, but I did want to show you that you don't have to, because you're choosing essentially where to sew it. You can sew it on the inside or the outside, because it really doesn't matter. You're going to flip it inside out anyways. So say if one piece is getting a little tricky and like it won't go in, then you can always flip it inside out. Also notice that I'm not using any interfacing for this one, as this is just a sample that I wanted to do today. A quick one. It'll only be like a little, 20-30 minute one today. We're not going to do an hour and a half like we did last time. When you get to something that's definitely a point, like the top of that, there's no problem with stopping. And as long as you leave the needle, see the needle itself is down. See, the needle is down in there. It's not, so like I can't move it. You see what I'm saying? Like as long as it's down, you can rotate that sucker all day long, and it's going to be fine. It'll be okay. And so once you have it in the right spot again, then you can start again. And you do have to leave an opening. So I'm going to go like about 2 inches. Which is one of the reasons why I like putting the pin in the middle, because what you can do with that is basically start that and stop it at that point. In fact, when I was in college, the tip that they would give you is anytime you want to start somewheres or stop somewheres, put 2 pins in it. You see that? See, there are 2 pins. Let's get it. You know what I'm saying? There's 2 pins and like basically like how I was taught to do it is like, because I would sew suits, and this is like something like if I was preparing a suit, I would do this and give that to someone, and they would understand. You start here, you sew all the way around, and then you end here, leaving this spot opened. Because this is how all things that are lined are done. You have to have a hole in it. So there is no other way to line something. See, and now you have this little hole, and the person sewing knew that because there was 2 pins there. That way, that's how you do it like in a factory. if someone, if I'm making it and then you're sewing it, then that's how we would be able to communicate with each other without even talking to each other, right? We would just know that, okay, you don't sew where those pins are. And as I said, no interfacing on these ones because they're just samples. I wanted to show you guys the process of taking that piece of paper and turning it into whatever shape you want. And this is, I mean, any shape. Next week, I was thinking of, I meant to do today a skull. That was the original plan, was I was going to do a skull. And I just like kind of ran out of time. I was like, all right, I'll just do because we talked about the basic shapes a couple weeks ago. So I was like, all right, I'll do basic shapes right now. And then next week, maybe start messing with, the more complicated shapes. Because circles are definitely the hardest ones to do. Unless you don't really care about like the size in that sense. I don't know, it's hard. That one's hard to explain. All right, let's see. Where'd it's right here. So whenever we get there, we can poke it out. And then poke all your corners. Get all your corners nice and poked out. And then put one into the other. Because right now it's just kind of loose, right? So you got a little boxed corner for each of them. The top can be tough to do. And that's fine. Just take your time with it. Arts and crafts shouldn't be done in a hurry. Have fun with it. Try to not plan to do, I'm going to do all of my Christmas crafts in 2 weeks. It's like, take 2 months to do it, not 2 weeks. And honestly, you'll be so much happier. That's why, something like this would be great for Christmas, something like that, right? It's like, we could definitely have it as a Christmas present, and it would be awesome. Now let's go ahead and get these sides done up. Get them all pressed, and then we'll look at it. And then I'm going to, let's see, is this the one? Yes. I go ahead and iron it. Try to get your little corners as well as the flat parts. But, try to get them corners going too. I ran out of a little steam. I meant to try to fill it a little bit before I started this today, but didn't have time. And, a couple of things to note. Size often determines strength. So if you look at something like this, each point is 3.5. So 3.5, 3.5, 3.5, 3.5. Oop, I'm too high up. 3.5. All right. So each one of these is 3.5. Okay. And so structurally, between these 2 points, it's a lot less like bendability. Whereas on this one, you can kind of see what's happened because this part from here to here is 6 inches, literally almost double this one. It wants to flop over much more. So the wider and longer your lines are, the easier for it to lay flat. In fact, I could get this one to lay completely flat if I wanted to, because it is, I put the corners are only 1 inch high, but you see what I'm saying? Like you can get this, let me turn it this way, maybe better. You see, you can get that almost like flat because there's nothing really structurally holding up. There's no interfacing in it. And so that's really showing you also what the interfacing is doing, right? Like this is, really stiff, whereas this one, there's nothing. You see what I'm saying? There's nothing to it. Whereas if I ball this one up, it basically goes back into its shape. Like one side got dented in, but other than that, it immediately goes back to shape, right? Whereas with no interfacing and nice long lines, you get something super floppy. So what we're going to do, now that we've pressed it as well as we can, we're going to take it back over and sew it a little bit more to try to give it a little more structure. So let's go do that. Now, anytime you line something, you end up with a hole, as we've talked in previous cases. You always have a hole. So automatically, you're going to top stitch everything just because, you want that close that hole up. Now, the other option would be to sew just that hole up, which is possible. There's nothing wrong with that. I like top stitching it all because, well, as we just said, the structure of it will improve, but also I think it looks nice. So we've gotten to that point again. We're going to get it nice and flat. We got to that corner again, and I want to kind of get it flat again. So right off the bat, you can kind of see just by, folding it, getting a little bit, you can see now you have a wall because you have something holding it, right? You have this piece at the top that's firm, but it's still not, there yet. So what we're going to do is, in fact, do it again, but onto the inner piece. Now this one, if you're a pro like me, or you're just kind of doing it casually, it's fine not to even, like I'm just not even measuring or anything like that. I'm just kind of guessing where the base would be, and that's fine. If you just need to make something for the sake of making it, then go for it, right? It's like not all crafts got to be perfect. But if you really wanted to make a, fully professional product, what they would do often is draw inside of that with something that would then disappear. That way they would know perfectly where the 1-inch bottom is. But I'm not really worried about that. Because I just wanted to show as an example today what it is that I do for structural stability and fun shapes that we can do. All right. Let's go look at what I've done. Okay. So what I've done, you can kind of see it on the inside there. There is 2 lines. See that? There's 2 of them. 1, 2. And so now I'm going to press it. But actually this time I'm going to press along that line. So wherever that line is that you ended up sewing, press it along that line. In fact, literally press it inwards. You see what I'm doing? I'm literally pressing it inwards, because that will then give you a lot more defined. So you can define the wall shape there. Okay. Now, if it had interfacing in it, it'd be even stiffer, because again, this is even after all that sewing, there's essentially nothing much holding it together besides that stitching. Whereas this one, there is something structurally holding it up. So it will never be as good as this piece, but I wanted to show you guys that, it's the combo of both the stitching and the interfacing, because this piece is completely interfaced. And there you go, right? You got your little pizza slice ready for, your keys or whatever, right? You want to put your pencils in there, whatever you want to put. See? Isn't that cool? And of course, you could do even more with it. If you really wanted it really stiff, you pinch these corners and you sew them like I did for this guy. So you can see him there. He was sewn that way. And that will make it even stiffer, if you really need it to be extra stiff. If you just want something that's kind of casual, then you don't even need it extra stiff, right? Yeah, absolutely, yeah. You could definitely put it in this box and have a piece inside of a piece. In fact, where's this one? Here's this one. So this one almost fits in that one. There you go. Now you got a trifecta, right? We got this bowl, then this one, then this one. And this one, see, it has the double stitching on it. See what I'm saying? That one has the double stitching, and you can see how firm it is, right? This one's, because it has the interfacing in it, it's very stiff, and the lines are very vertical on it. You see what I'm saying? It's very vertical. Whereas this one, it's still kind of floppy, right? You can kind of see how I've been bending it and see how like immediately it'll kind of get out of shape, because it's like, this is still just cloth, right? It's just fabric, just literally cotton. So no matter what, if you just put stitching into it, you can only get it so stiff. Because even if another technique you could do is start quilting the entire thing. If you quilted it all. Yeah, it would be really cute in pizza material. That's a good idea. I'll try to find some pizza material and make some pizza ones. Huh? But yeah, that's what I wanted to show everyone today. How to take any kind of shape, geometric shape, triangle, square, rectangle, pentagon, hexagon. Because see, we did the pentagon. Where did he go? Where'd my little pentagon go? Where did he go? Fall on the ground? Where did he go? I don't know where he went. He went somewhere. Yeah, I gotta keep more organized. I got too much stuff around here. But yeah, isn't that cute? And so you can, if you need a custom organizer or something like that, then you can always hit me up and we can talk about whatever shape you need. Because like, for instance, this one, it doesn't perfectly fit in. We could have changed the angle of it to be a right angled triangle or a different type of triangle, right? Whatever kind, equilateral, whatever you need, you can end up doing. I just want to do a pizza shape one because I was hungry. And so I was like, ooh, pizza shape one. And then no interfacing because I wanted to kind of show, see, this is your difference. See how perfect that is? You see what I'm saying? Versus this. And that's a lot of times why people get discouraged at crafting, because they will see something on the internet and they go, oh, I'll just whip it out and it'll be just like this box. And it's like, well, if they didn't tell you all the steps, you're going to end up with something like this that looks similar, but doesn't have the whoop, whoop structure stability, right? So, that's a kind of a tip for you. And if you ever need any tips or anything else, feel free to watch me or DM me on Instagram at Chris Collected. I got the link tree down there as /Chris Collected. And yeah, guys, happy Halloween. Next time I'll see you guys, well, at least for like main streams, will be Tuesday. So that will be the day after Halloween. So this will be the last stream of the month for sure of, doing the arts and crafts and doing the company. But yeah. Oh yeah, the interfacing makes a huge difference. Like this is, I can just make it as flat as I want it. There's literally very little structure to it. Whereas this, it's like if I try to make it flat, it literally just turns itself inside out. You cannot ever make it flat again. This is permanently, because of the interfacing and the corners I've done to it, it can never be made flat. Because that's trying to make it as flat as possible, and it won't, because it always wants those corners. Whereas this, there's nothing really holding those corners together. Not really. I put some stitching in it, but it's still not enough. You see what I'm saying? So that's why if you're ever curious, you need the interfacing. The interfacing is not optional unless you want a flat pizza, right? If you want something that, I just need it decorative on the wall, I don't care how it looks, then yeah, go for it. You don't need the interfacing. But if you want to use it, and all my products will come with interfacing. Both of these are interfaced. This is interfaced. And see, you can see, there it is. I just found it. See how there's nothing holding that up. And so squish it down. See that? Yeah, it's no problem to squish this thing. Boop. And it doesn't, no shape holding. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, I just wanted to show you guys that and show you the importance of why I use interfacing. And so when you're, looking into buying a product from me, just understand that I am trying for the highest quality possible. So if it's an extra $2 or $3 on the price, I'm fine with it. And I hope you guys are fine with it too, because ultimately your choices are, I can do this for $2. I can do this for $5. which one are you actually going to buy? This one's worth a lot more, right? Whereas this one, it's neat, but it's not really worth anything, right? It's kind of, that's why I wanted to do a triangle, something small, simple. I was like, let me show you guys that it's not really worth anything. Now the pattern is very much worth it, right? We have the permanent pattern. I can take real interfacing next time, and I'll make something for next week and show you the real difference, right? Oops. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Happy Halloween to everyone. Hope you guys have a great day. I'm glad, for CFL and Debbie Do, thanks for sticking around and watching. For Umpty as well, thanks for sticking around and watching. And I really appreciate it, guys. I'll see you next time. On this weekend, I'll be doing some gaming streams. Playing some more Back 4 Blood. Back 4 Blood. I like that game. And it's spooky right now. They have a Halloween update. So we're going to be doing more of that. And while we're doing it, absolutely, yeah, you have a great day and a better tomorrow as well, too. But yeah, thank you guys so much for sticking around and watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next time. I'm Chris Collected, and this has been The Importance of Interfacing and Box Designs, right? But yeah, thank you so much, guys.